welcome to this month's vlog where I reflect on my final month in Uganda. So at the start of this month I had some wonderful visitors, Naomi and Emma. We had an amazing 2 weeks while they got to experience Uganda, all the different sides of Uganda and the ministry opportunities. I really loved hosting these two girls as they prepared themselves for the next step in their lives as they head off to university, but also gave them space to reflect on their time in ministry over the year that they've spent at St. George's. We got to enjoy lots of different things, cultural visits, Sunday services at local churches, which was such a blessing. I was so impressed with the girls. They did an amazing job introducing themselves and sharing their testimonies. We did this in a variety of places and in the schools, in the churches, and they did a great job just being open to all those different experiences. It was wonderful to see how God moved through all of the different ministry opportunities we were a part of, sharing with the volleyball team, going out into the community. Experiencing local things like tailoring and the countryside, going and working with FNKD, working with the children, doing a little holiday club for them. We also went and did some work with Our Father's House Ministries, visiting girls in schools, doing mentorship, doing talks about the Bible, Bible study time. We also went and joined the American missions team that had come over from Woodside Church in Detroit and joined them in their outreach day at the Refugee Resettlement Center. I also got to show the girls my favourite place, which is Lake Bunyoni, and we had a wonderful time there enjoying local life. While also doing some slightly terrifying activities like high ropes courses. I loved how the girls got to meet up with some of my friends in Rukungiri and get to know them the way I've been able to. And of course, you wouldn't be able to visit Uganda without going on safari and seeing the wonderful wildlife. While also going to one of the colleges nearby and doing some young adults ministry and youth ministry. And then before we knew it, it was time to say goodbye to the girls as they left to return back to the UK. I really thank God that towards the end of my time in Uganda, I had the most wonderful experience being with Sydney as she prepared for her wedding. And then one of my final things I got to enjoy was being a part of her wedding and celebrating this wonderful moment as her and Peter came together in holy matrimony. It was an incredible highlight. There were challenges, there were wonderful moments where we saw God break through in hardships, in struggles, but also in the real joyful moments as they looked forward to a future together. As I started to tie up some of the final parts of my ministry life in Uganda, looking at provision and the sustainability of who would continue supporting different people that I had been visiting and supporting, I was really encouraged that in those final few weeks I was able to make some wonderful new friendships which were very unexpected but such a blessing from God. Those new friendships included getting to know the local Bishop Onesmus. This was such an honour to get to know such an incredibly devout and spiritual man who inspired me every time we spoke, who was a spiritual father to me and looked after me in moments of confusion and not knowing what the right path was to take. He was an amazing surprise towards the end of my ministry time, and I'm very excited for what could happen in the future, what doors may open through our newfound friendship and seeing what God does through us meeting. I also got some amazing time with his daughter Ruth, who fastly became a really good friend of mine, and I can't wait to see what happens in the future of our friendship. I pray that that's just the start of a new journey together as we carry on our lives and support one another through prayer and through friendship. There was a moment towards the end of my ministry in Uganda where many challenges came all at once, and things that I thought had been resolved through some of the difficulties that came out of the court process sadly weren't resolved to the point that I'd hoped they would be, leading me into a place of not really knowing where to go next. What else could I do? I kind of felt at the end of my own knowledge and at the end of my strength, and in that moment I got a really strong sense from the Lord that I should be praying and fasting over it. I'd never had that kind of urge or calling before. Fasting is never something I thought that I would take on as a spiritual discipline, because I guess I love food so much. I thought that would only be more of a distraction to be hungry during the day than actually something that helps me focus my prayers, something that helps direct my spiritual posture. But instead, as I committed to what I felt the Lord was calling me to, and I did a day of fasting and prayer, during that day I found myself having many different meetings, not ones that I'd planned, but that were circumstantial and just happened at the perfect time. And one after another, I think I had about 5 meetings in one day, which just led to such incredible comfort and encouragement and security that I didn't feel before. Without going into too much detail, I guess God just really opened my eyes that He is always growing in me and growing a hunger for, which is ironic that it was fasting and yet it grew a hunger. It grew a hunger in me to commit to spiritual disciplines in a way that I'd never felt before. And so fasting seems to be something that used to be such a barrier for me and is now going to be something I turn to because I have a testimony of how wonderful it is through having that day of just, it felt like a day of holiness, of being completely set apart from kind of the world in a sense, but also deeply rooted me into what God was doing, and it opened my eyes to seeing Him in a time where I was struggling and couldn't see the wood through the trees really. So that was so encouraging, something I'm definitely going to be continuing to grow in as I look to spiritual disciplines more to help me feel closer to God, to help me experience God, to help me discern the Spirit, and to help me just love God even more. It really created this new worship within me to the Lord, and I'm excited for where that will go in the future. So as you can tell, I'm now back in the UK. I moved back a few weeks ago and straight away moved house. So this is my new bedroom, and started a new job. So I'm now working as the communications and youth worker for St. Anne's Church in Grantham, a part of a new team to help revive community outreach in an area of Grantham. I'm so excited, I'm so ready for this new challenge, and I feel like my year in Uganda really equipped me for that. I don't think I could be where I am right now if I hadn't had the experiences I had in Uganda. I kind of wish, and this sounds very strange, but I've had such a deep pain and love for Uganda all rolled up into one for a long time in my life. Since I was about 15 years old, I've had this deep sense of love and pain for Uganda. I maybe thought spending a year there, committing my time to Uganda, would help me really discern why and help me almost get over it and get it out of my system. And although maybe 8 months into my time in Uganda, I could have consoled myself to being like, yes, this is the final season I'm going to spend in Uganda, the final few months of my time in Uganda confirmed for me that it's not over, that God has a calling on my life that will always involve Uganda in some way or another. So I'm now praying into what that looks like, how that takes form, and where that might lead me into the future, which is exciting, is puzzling and confusing, but I'm excited to live in the unknown of that and take each step as it comes with the Lord. I think if I knew the whole plan, then I would be too overwhelmed to even consider doing it, which is why I think God takes us one step at a time. So coming back to the UK and starting to process everything I've experienced in Uganda, there's this kind of unsettled spirit within me, but I think it's a purposeful one sent from the Lord. Like I said, I don't know what form that will take, but that's where I'm at right now, that's where I'm praying into, and I'm really thankful that a year in Uganda has given me some great experiences to equip me for my ministry right now in this next season, but has also built some foundations for me to return back to in Uganda whenever God opens that door again. I want to thank everyone so much who's been on this journey with me. It's been challenging to say the least, but has been incredible in the way I've seen God move. I don't think my relationship with the Lord would have grown in the same way had it not been for the spiritual support and prayer support I had alongside me that helped me keep my eyes focused on God. So I want to thank all my family and friends who have supported this journey, who have prayed for me, who have financially supported me, who have emotionally supported me through the ups and downs. You have all been amazing. You've been a part of this journey. You have been on mission with me. So that's it for this series of my life in Uganda. Thank you so much for joining me on the journey. It's been a crazy ride, but a life in Christ always demands that of us. And I will see you all soon. Bye!